Hey everyone, I'm Janet Dwinells, and I have with me Brad Glass, who is offering a group coaching program called Living Authentically. Hey Brad, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for agreeing to do this short interview with me. All right, so I'm wondering, first of all, if you can give us an overview of your Living Authentically program.
Sure. I mean, part of the background is just about how I see life, because that's what figures into this. And I kind of like to think of life itself as an invitation, and it's an invitation to the limitless possibility that's inside all of us. And this potential, the way I see it, comes from two things. It comes from a unique self, why each of us is different, the seed inside us that knows its own path, the direction that life wants us to take it. And the other is the power of consciousness that we have to manifest it, because we have the power to choose the course of our lives. And to me, that's what life is all about. The problem is that we don't become what life is about. We become what we learn life is about. And mostly, especially if we grew up in this country, we often learn we're not good enough. We need to get things right. We need to achieve. We need to be socially acceptable. We need to not rock the boat. So this leaves us feeling isolated, trying to become someone we're not instead of who we really are. But the thing is, all of what we learn is illusion, but it's so embedded in our minds that we think it's truth. We don't question it. We don't notice how it's steering our life and doing our thinking for us. And we think it's thinking, but it's just a story.
Right, right. So can you paint a picture of where that leaves us?
Yeah, I mean, if you think of life as a story, I mean, maybe even as a movie for a minute, uh, you're the star in your story, but the story is made up by somebody else. You're the director in your story because it's your life, but the story says you can't change the script. The story isn't true. It never was, but you believe it anyway. The only thing you wonder is why today looks so much like yesterday over and over again. But life isn't holding you back. Believing the stories is holding you back. That's the problem that we face.
Right, right. So how do we get beyond that?
Well, the most powerful tool any of us ever have is to learn to become the audience in our movie and not just a star. The problem is nothing in our life or in our lessons or in our experience tells us to believe this, so we don't. And when I work with clients, the thing that stops many of them from the potential that's inside them is they're unwilling to become the audience in their own life because they don't think it works.
Mm.
But the other side is if you can get to know your life story like an observer, you see both what's possible inside you and you see what holds you back. And when you can do that with objectivity and clarity, change comes naturally. You don't have to try anything. You can choose the story that your life is as you walk it in each moment.
So you're really shifting perceptions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I'm working with people, either one-on-one or in a group, I ask them to tell me about their story, and I listen. I listen for what they say. I listen for what they don't say. And from this, I create a mental map in my mind of their life story and how their thinking is working.
Mm.
And I'll just keep asking questions, both to test my own mental model, but also to help them begin to see their own thinking as an observer, probably for the first time.
Right,
And their growing self-awareness is what creates the change. So
right.
they, in addition to seeing these things happening, they start to build the capacity within themselves to be self-correcting and self-generating so they can create their own life from there on out.
Okay, great. So in a group coaching model, how do you see this working?
Well, most of our stories have a lot in common because we all grew up breathing the same air. So I would ask people to talk about what matters to them, bring something each session that either they want more of or less of in their life, or something they believe holds them back. And we do that process of helping them understand what's going on in their thinking. And it's really easy. It's deceptively simple in a way because our thinking shows up as voices in our head. And we think that it's difficult to find what our thinking is really doing to us, but we're so used to these voices in our head that we don't even know they're there. And if you don't believe it, try to stop thinking for even 10 seconds. The voices just start talking. You know, like, I don't want to do this. This is crazy. I've got better things to do. I'm not going to get anything out of this. But I help people in real time in those conversations to listen for those voices consciously instead of listening to them unconsciously.
Mm,
And when they do that, they get their entire life story.
mm,
And when you get your whole story, you change the story.
mm. Yeah. Okay. That's great. That's great. It sounds really fun and interesting. If
It's
you
what
had,
I love.
yeah, I know it. You can tell you love it. If you had one message for humanity, what would it be?
I would say that there's incredible hope. There's hope for each of us. There's hope for our dreams, for our communities, and for our planet. But that hope starts inside us. Nothing in the universe grows from the outside in. Everything grows from the inside out. So any meaningful change has to start inside each of us. So stop waiting for somebody else to love you more or for them to change their ways or any of that kind of stuff. When you start making yourself constructive, you begin the journey to making the world constructive.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And so right on. That's great.
Thanks.
So how can people find out more about you? Your
My website is roadnottaken.com.
okay.
Uh, Everything you want to know is on there. There's newsletters you can sign up for free. There's a couple of books I've written that are available for purchase. There's introductions to coaching, miscellaneous other articles and inspirations. It's all out there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing this little interview with us. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me. It's great.
Okay, take care. Okay, now wait a minute. I have to stop my recording here, which you did, but I did not.